Hello, hello, hello. My name is Sam, otherwise known as Function, and I am delighted to be back with some more Supreme Commander action. I am having another go at looking at one of my own games. This time, rather than a PoV, it's an actual replay from the vault. I wasn't recording at the time, and after I finished, I decided that it was a pretty good game that I think represents some learning opportunities and that sort of thing. So before this game, I played this guy Zasnoba. He was going Cybran, and he was going Cybran beforehand. I played against him on Certus Major, and he absolutely crushed me. And then I played this game, and I beat him, so I was pretty happy about that. I'm pretty sure he's significantly better than I am. But I managed to outplay him this game. So before, what I did, I tried this sort of cheesy strat on Certus Major where you start with an air factory and go straight for a T1 bomber to take out the enemy engineers, but he seems to go for this strategy where rather than producing lots of engineers, he just produces lots of labs. Actually, I just realised he was going UEF before, so he had mech marines. But in this game, I think he still produces a bunch of labs. But anyway, yeah. So rather than focusing on the T1 bomber and focusing on engineers after that, I've got a pretty heavy focus on T1 tanks straight off the bat. This map, Dry Canyon, not a huge amount of expanding to do. So I've gone for a 1-for-1 ratio in terms of engineers and tanks out of my first factory. I'm focusing on reclaiming these large rocks, building up these mexes. One of the struggle that I had last time, one of the struggles that I had was that I just couldn't keep track of all of his bands of mech marines that were roaming around all over the place. He had dozens of them, and they were just going all around the place. So I built an early radar system. If you take a look at that, you can see it has really good coverage, so I can see these units as they come in. I guess that they are labs again. There is actually one Mantis in the mix, but I send my 2 THAMs straight for these 2 units that I can see over here. There are a couple units over here, but I've got a couple more THAMs rolling up, and I actually bring the THAM. No, this THAM is still on a patrol pattern, just to try and catch out any hunters that come that way. So my THAMs make landfall. They kill those 2 units. He's sort of bringing his units back a little bit. He's a bit more tentative than he was last time. He was just hyper aggressive last time. See, he's actually used his commander to build up these 3 mexes. I don't like this on maps where you've got a major expansion. It's sometimes good to use the commander to build them, but when it's just off to one side like this, I prefer not to. I just get an engineer over there, get a tank or 2 to defend. Better to either keep the commander in the base using that 10 build power that he's got, or send him straight forwards where he can be much more useful. So this commander's all the way on the right hand side over here. He's really not doing a whole lot of anything. I think later on I send a bunch of THAMs up this way, yeah. So I think I've got a radar signature on this unit. Oh no, not quite. But I suspect he's bringing an engineer over here, so I bring THAMs to clear him out. I send them on a move command and then sort of forget about them. And I don't notice that they get blapped by an ACU, so I don't actually know that his ACU is over there, because I'm not really paying attention. But yeah, you can see we're keeping his hunters back. He's started proper production of Mantis now. One thing that my little cheesy strat bought me from the last game, he's gone into Sky Slammer production, assuming that I'm going to be building fast air. I haven't built any air, and because it's such a small map, I haven't built any T1 mobile arty either. I'm just focusing on tanks. I want that that direct line of fire, that hit scan fire, that's really good against labs and other T1 tanks. I'm not really focusing on the structural damage that the T1 RT are really good at doing. As soon as I spot any T1 PDs, I would quickly switch over to some T1 RT into the mix. Got a pretty early T2 mechs, so I did a really good job of collecting all of the mass. You can see there's these 38s, then the 75. They were there originally. Those aren't wrecks, those are stones. So my opponent hasn't collected as much mass as I have. He's actually still managed to get a T2 mechs. Yeah, so pretty even. But I go straight into a second T2 mechs. I don't think he is doing the same. No, so I've got a bunch of build power on that. And I've got my commander going forwards. I know that he hasn't got a bunch of units on my side of the map, so I feel pretty safe constructing that T2 mechs. Take a look at the economies. I'm ahead on mass by a significant amount. I'm got enough build power for now to use, well, actually I'm a little bit low on build power now that second T2 mechs is finished, but hopefully I'm about to make all these engineers do something good. I think I go straight into a T2 HQ now. I've got him on the back foot. I've got enough units out on the field currently to keep him occupied. So yeah, this is what I like to do. I build a new factory so that I don't have to cancel any of the other build orders or whatever. So I build a new factory, start it straight onto T2 HQ. And that works nicely. I can see a big stream of units coming down. I saw those on the radar, and I haven't seen any hunters in a while, so I'm pretty sure those are all proper tanks. So I know I need a decent number of tanks to defend, but because the way Dry Canyon is set up, you've got this little well, I guess it's the titular canyon, isn't it? So it funnels the units in. I had a reasonably nice firing line of units. I chase after him. I'm not sure that was the best idea. I suppose I consolidate this area and then maybe I can bring engineers up to rebuild some of these mexes. There's a bit of a mass field and I've got an engineer very far forwards. It's a bit of a risk, but engineer's obviously very cheap. It's not a huge loss if I lose this one engineer, so I get him trying to suck up some of those tank wrecks. But then yeah, I bring him back now that I see some units coming in. Bring him back to just rebuild these mexes. I've got a really nice raiding party going in over here. It's really not responding well. You should be able to see that these guys are going over to the left. They're going to focus on this mechs. And he had sight on them, and he's definitely got radar coverage of them now, and he's not sending his units into the right area. So I'm going to be able to get this mechs. I think later on I bring these units over onto this sort of plateau bit, which you know, I think I managed to kill these T1 mexes and hold engineers off of the area for quite some time. Another pretty major mistake by him, not clearing out those units. Using my commander on the right hand side, I've got units on the left, I've got raiding parties going on, so I'm trying to create more pressure on a different side of the map with my commander. Don't really need any assisting units with the commander. I've got some, but they're really just continuing ahead to try and raid. You can see I've got a bunch of my opponent's T1 mechs down. He's got 4 mechs points that are, you know, very much in his territory, and he hasn't got anything built on them. I'm not sure if I saw these with radar. I'm not sure how I saw these, but I feel like I remember seeing this big clump of units, so I brought some of my my units over. I'm actually going kind of into the meat grinder here. He's still got a couple of labs in the mix there. See the hunter there. But yeah, my unit's dying there, and I can see this big push coming in. This could be really dangerous. I think I resigned myself to the fact that I'm not going to be able to save certainly these front two mexes probably not going to be able to save this back mex. So rather than sending these units straight into this blob, I send them over onto the left-hand side where they can cut them off. If I go straight to the blob, they'll just run straight past me and get into these mexes as well. So I allow him to take these 3 mexes to prevent any further damage. You can see these units, they went back and killed this T1 mex again, I think. You can see he's really on the back foot. I didn't even manage, just about didn't manage to kill this T1 mex. But yeah, I've got a bunch of T2 mexes now. I've got 5 of them, I think. I upgrade these 2 soon after. But I've got Ilshivers now. Actually, one mistake I made, I think, at some point was that I messed up the move commands going out of the base. So I had like 5 or 6 Ilshivers. You can see, I think, yeah, this move command here. So this Ilshiver is just going to sit here, and I didn't notice for quite some time. I think for some reason I thought that all these factories were on this waypoint, but I think 5 or 6 Ilshivers build up here, and that's a pretty significant mass investment that's just, you know, not doing anything. You can see my opponent is finally clearing out this back section, so he can, and he's actually having to use his commander to build those units. He doesn't have enough engineers on the field. You can see he's got a few engineers forward here. He's trying to reclaim this mass field. There's a lot of mass here, 2,000 mass, a very small map. That's a huge amount of mass. But I've got Ilshivers plus more T1 units in the area, so he's going to have a real hard time taking this mass. I really don't want him to get any of this mass. With these Ilshivers, I think I can probably take on this army pretty effectively. But the worst case scenario is that I prevent him from sucking up the mass, and then I can roll over him later with the Ilshivers that I'm building now, plus my commander who's coming up. So I start my gun upgrade on the commander. I've got 2 T2 power generators, so high time I start the gun upgrade. I had a bunch of build capacity helping this T2 engineer build a 3rd P-gen, but I take those over to the commander to help him out. At some point I'm going to need to build, you can see these Ilshis building up, doing absolutely nothing. Let's actually take a look at the price of those. Yeah, 360 mass to build them. You can see 54 for the THAMs, so that's what, 7 THAMs that I could have on the field per each of these. So 28 THAMs, so 25 to 30 THAMs that I could have on the field, that instead of these Ilshivers, they're just standing around doing nothing. But I get them, I put them to use later. Almost done now on this gun upgrade, just 20 seconds left. But yeah, as I was going to say, I need to build energy storage at some point so I can use the gun upgrade more effectively. I've done a really good job of penning him in. He's got actually 4 T2 mexes, which is quite impressive, but you can see I've got so much territory in comparison to him. I've got all these central mexes, and you can sort of think about it like for every mex that I have in the center, that's 1 mex that he doesn't have. So each of these mexes is kind of worth double its value because it's preventing him from getting a mex at the same time. This T2 mex is actually going to go down. I don't know why he built it here instead of over here where he had, well, I don't know. I think he probably should have built it up here, this other T2 mex, harder to get to. So I punish him for that. I didn't actually realize that at the time. I didn't realize he had so many T2 mexes. But yeah, you can see I've got tons of them now. I've got, what, 7 T2 mexes, I think. Nice band of Ilshivers here. I finally get these 6 Ilshivers that were sitting here doing nothing. I finally get them moving up. Guncom is completed. Do I have... Okay, power storage just about to go online. And I've got nice radar coverage. I think I've got a T2 radar back here. If you take a look at the range, I don't... it's not able to see everything, but I've got a forward radar really, really useful to build those forward radars. They're very cheap and they give you actually a lot of information. But yeah, with the commander, including the gun upgrade and the overcharge, plus some Ilshivers to support, I'm able to consolidate my hold over this mass field. I've got a ton of engineers moving forwards, and I'm turning that mass straight into more Ilshivers. That's what we'd like to see. Now it's just a case of making sure I don't do anything silly and finishing the game out. I really don't think there's too much you can do. He overcharges down one of my Ilshivers. Nice little move there. I'm sort of moving my Ilshivers in and out. These Ilshivers, just honestly, they're really, really fantastic units. Bunch of kills on all of those guys. Get my commander in range. He does have an upgrade. I think he's got the gun upgrade. That's why he's got so many hit points. But I have a rank of vet. Oh no, he has no upgrades, but he has 2 ranks of vet. That's why he's got so many hit points. But I get a couple nice overcharges that kill a bunch of mantis that were clumped up here, and I've got, you know, a dozen Ilshivers that just help me completely wipe the floor with this army there, and this is pretty much all she wrote. He's got no units on the field. I have a bunch of T2, and that is it. He control cases com. So it's a short game, and 1v1s, you know, this is a pretty common length of game. So for anyone who is interested in playing 1v1s, I thought this is a pretty good game to learn from. There you go. I've got a forward. I've got that radar upgraded to T2 in the middle there, so that'll be giving me tons of information. Yeah, you can see it's a turbos. But yeah, that's all I wanted to show you guys. Just let me know what you thought of that. Let me know if that is useful or interesting to you guys. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.